January the 10th. Rare birds. Rare bird sightings are one of the most exciting features of the month. A visit to Barnes Wetland Centre may quite possibly be rewarded with views of ferruginous duck, red and black-necked grebe, Bewick swan, scaup, or pintail. Certainly without too much trouble, gadwall, teal, widgeon, shoveler, water rail and jacksnipe may all be seen. Visits to bleaker, more windswept reservoirs, such as those around Staines, can bring greater rewards, such as ruddy duck, golden eye, goosander, and red-breasted merganser. The latter two birds are always impressive and exciting to encounter. They are both sawbills on account of their long tapering beaks, which are edged with backward-pointing teeth and end in dangerous-looking hooks. They are also both strikingly coloured, with long necks and long streamlined bodies that seem to sit far too low in the water. They can at times be difficult to separate, especially when they spend time together on reservoirs in winter. It is always worth looking carefully at their heads. Both males have bottle green heads, but the goosander has a much more noticeable crest and the merganser a much more bloody eye. The heads of the females are more rufous in colour, and both have crests, but only the female goosander has a prominent white chin. Both birds are cautious, distrustful, and likely to be just passing through London. If they do stop over, they prefer the quietest stretches of water on certain favoured reservoirs, such as Staines and Raisbury. Here they seem to spend most of their time floating or sleeping, occasionally lifting their impressive crests in display. The River Thames is always a good place to look for rarities. Slavonian as well as black-necked grebe at this time of year regularly make an appearance. Raisbury, Lee Valley, Colne Valley and West Thurrock are all good places to look for them. Other occasional rarities include ringoozle, Lapland and snow bunting, twite, great northern diver, white-fronted goose, long-tailed duck, Pomeranian skua, Leach's petrel, as well as the so-called white gulls, that is, the Mediterranean glaucus and yellow-ringed gull. Rare visitors to reed beds now are bearded tits and penduline tits. The bearded tit was also called the reed pheasant on account of the way it flies, which looks not unlike a miniature pheasant. Occasionally there is an eruption in their eastern strongholds, and it is then that some attempt to turn up in London. Similarly, the penduline tit seems to be expanding its range across Europe, with one or two regularly turning up in places such as Rainham Marshes. Other rarities come from as far afield as Scandinavia, Iceland, or even Russia. It seems likely that some birds, now scarce, were a lot more common in the past. For example, bittern, black-throated diver, green sandpiper, and bar-tailed godwit, all of which regularly were found on the menus of medieval banquets. Waxwings are another rare winter visitor. These birds are marvellously coloured, with cinnamon heads, a bright yellow tail, and their hallmark red ceilings wax spots at the end of their secondary flight feathers. When they arrive in numbers, it is usually referred to as a waxwing invasion or a waxwing winter. In some years, up to as many as 11,000 have flown across the North Sea from Scandinavia, when the rowan crop there has failed. Here they seem driven to other species of rowan with larger, brighter berries. Up to 40 or more may stay in a single tree for almost a week, as they did in Balham in 2010. Such sights have an unreal quality for the lucky viewer. In its Arctic taiga home, it chatters, consequently also enjoying the name of the Bohemian chatterer. But here they are nearly always silent. The years they do appear, they have been reported as centrally as Warren Street, as well as the occasional supermarket car park in the East End. They collect in such places, taking advantage of the bright berries of widely planted shrubs, such as cotoneaster and pyracantha. Word generally gets about if they arrived among birdwatchers, and birdwatchers come from all over London to see them. Fortunately, they seem oblivious to human company, allowing people to stand close to the trees on which they are feeding. If close enough, it is worth attempting to count the number of single red tips on their wings. If there are 8, it is likely to be a dominant male. If only 4, a female or possibly a juvenile. If they do get disturbed, they'll fly off together at high speed in a very distinctive, close, red-out red arrow style formation.